Now this is a wonderful little area here. I'm delighted that this was set aside. The architect thought of it as a little gallery, but that was rather daring to say that on the plans for a university building. So this was described as the waiting room. Although when the building was finished and all the other rooms had their furniture, there was no furniture in the waiting room. So after we installed this, I had this bench made, and it works terrifically with it all. The two stone pieces are again by Ted Reddick. The one in the corner was done at the same time as the standing figure in the other room. They're both out of French limestone. It's just a wonderful piece, very calm, calming. It's like the seed of the world. The marks are like the marks that the sea makes on sand. It's a bit like a Zen garden. It's many, many things, but certainly above all, something contemplative. This piece is much more recent. It came from about 2000, 2001. It's called Cave of the Heart. That's a Hindu mystical phrase indicating the center of our being where we experience emptiness and fullness. And Ted has put this little symbol there and there of the cross and the circle, a Christian symbol. So it evokes also the tomb of Christ. And this wonderful sort of tree-like, fruit-like quality on the outside. The carving could be Hindu luxuriance. It could be the biblical tree of life. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece. And this large painting, well, this is another one by Leopold Plotek. And it's called Christ Lay in the Bonds of Death. That phrase is the title of a cantata by Bach. So it really isn't about death, it's about life. It's about life overcoming death. And Plotek said that he was listening to that music and he got the idea of trying to paint life overcoming death. And so you have here a sense of the tomb, and of course through here you have the body. And then he has a ghost-like figure up here blowing the breath of life. In Hebrew, ruah is both spirit and breath. And he's suggesting the coming of life back into the body with this rippling effect, as water almost. It's a dark painting, but the more you look at it, you start to notice the little touches of white and blue, and of course the brilliant red. And down below here, sort of three very different bottoms, as it were, to it. Gives it a nice variety. And this piece here in particular leads us right into the heart of the painting. Now this piece over here is by Regan Morris. It's an abstract piece, but to me it says the same thing emotionally as Plotek's piece. It has to do, for me, with life overcoming death. You see these cracks on the surface. They suggest decay and death, but there's this wonderful light coming through it. A very beautiful piece, very quiet, contemplative piece. Fits in beautifully with Ted Reddick's stone works. And then over here there's another Poulain piece. This is the first print that Poulain ever made. He made it here in Toronto at the Open Studio. It's called Source Noire, Black Source. It brings again this theme of cross and tree together. And there's another wonderful piece by Ron Shubrook. It's obviously an abstract piece. It's made out of wood, painted, carved. Ron had a show at Whitby about 10 years ago, and he was giving a little talk, and I went out, and he got to this piece and another one of similar proportions, which were different from everything else in the show, and he said that they were inspired by a particular experience. He was going down the stairs in the Fogg Museum in Harvard, when he saw a niche. And he turned to everybody and he said, you know what I mean by a niche? There should have been a saint or an angel, but it was empty. So like it was a symbol of secularity. And then he said, I'm not a religious man, but I would like to be. And I looked at this piece and I thought, well, that's exactly what the piece is. It's the niche, it's closed, but it's not fully closed, and it has this gorgeous blue color. Kandinsky calls this the spiritual color. And it's the same color of blue that we find over here in this piece by Poulain.